with the keys. I have a current, she alright, but not the way that I see. So if a future should arise, then you're the one that I need. Yes, you're the one, yes indeed. Where others lack, you exceed. I know you had a couple niggas come around selling dreams. They put in orders in threes, a ring, a seat, and the keys. The happy life that you need, but they serve curry with keys. They're only getting them threes, and you're a 10, shorty, please. Don't waste your time on their needs. I am a man of my deeds, so if we meet and proceed.
Hola Namibia, welcome to the Tribe on One Africa TV. This week we travel to the Erongo region in the Tribe Erongo exclusive, where we touch base with what Swakopmund has to offer when it comes to Namibian music and chat to the guys behind one of the most sought after production houses and creative spaces in the country, Nautilus. Rainer and Gernot join us to tell their story on this Tribe exclusive. My name is Sheu Lenga. Welcome to the Tribe on One Africa TV.
We can't wait to get the whole gang together. But until then, let's stay safe.
This is my family, and I've always taken care of their skin, from their hands to their toes. With Clear's new 48-hour Nutri-Moist formula, I can show more love for their skin, keeping it soft, smooth, and moisturized. I love you. Enriched with pure glycerine and captivating fragrances, Clear is South Africa's #1 body cream.
Welcome back to the Tribe, my people. Namibian music is so diverse, and on the Tribe we strive to showcase this diversity. This time we're talking to Rainer and Gernot from Nautilus Production House. Check it out on the Tribe. Collaboration and unity is one of the biggest things that always lacks in the Namibian music industry. Well, Bolly Muteng once called it a project and not an industry. But spaces like Nautilus and Swakopmund are changing that for the better of the Namibian music industry. Let's talk to you guys about starting it, establishing it, and how it all started. What's the history behind Nautilus?
I think I would actually start with this gentleman right here, because when I arrived here on the scene late 2014, I was kind of looking around who's doing stuff, and a lot of people pointed me towards this gentleman right here, so I think I'll hand over.
All right.
Yeah, so the stream started probably in my teenage years growing up in Walfish Bay.
Yeah.
Obviously, wanting to do music at a very young age and being told by almost every adult in my community that I could not do music because it is not feasible in this country, which kind of is not.
I like that you mentioned that, because for some of us we just think, no, that's something that happens in the black community, where black people be like, no, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer.
No.
It happens all over.
For
Thank
sure.
you for bringing that.
Parents want us to be responsible, obviously, and a musical dream 15 years ago was a little less realistic than it is today. I didn't give up on my dream, though. Pursued it, kept pursuing it, started collaboration with artists at the coast, just trying to uncover stones and find where all the artists were hiding. And I very quickly identified that we didn't really need more music to be made. We needed more conversation to be had about what we are actually doing with music and where it is all heading. So long story short, I ended up spending about 10 years in Walfish Bay trying to produce multiple artists and having to see each and every one of them, the moment they gain some kind of momentum, having to leave the coast, either to the capital, Windhoek, or even further to South Africa, to try and establish what they were trying to pursue. And at that point it became very clear that the coastal community, more specifically, actually needed some kind of foundation to be able to just start sitting in a room together and having that conversation about what are we doing here, what is music, how do we make it, how do we make it professional, you know, how do we brand ourselves as artists. All those conversations we've never had. I ended up moving to Windhoek, started a career in radio there, and got to experience the industry basically firsthand. And that's when, you know, it really hit home. Is after a number of years in Windhoek, I decided to move back to the coast, and it was just perfect timing, stars aligned. And I came down back to the coast to kind of help start another radio station, and in that process ran into my business partner, who, I think I can almost hand the story over to him, who saw something on an architectural plan that inspired him a bit, someone put us in a room together, and that's where the conversation started. We met 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
2014, somewhere end of 2014 we met for the first time. Yeah.
And what made you, Gernot, jump onto the dream? What was some of the important stuff that stood out when René was telling you all about what he wanted to do?
So before I came, I studied in Munich in Germany and lived and worked there for about 5 years. Worked in music production kind of part-time, but again, same things, like music's not really a career, so even though the pressure wasn't really there as much as I thought it was there, I was like, oh, my parents expect me to have like a real job. So I did work in a couple of different things, and my family's in construction, so I became a joiner, started doing a lot of woodwork, and there was one area that crosses over between music and woodwork, and that's acoustics. And I became really, really interested in acoustics, kind of became obsessed about acoustics. And for a number of years, I was just doodling studio plans. Every free time I had, I would be designing studios, I would be looking at gear, and I'd be like, oh, if one day, if I had the money and I would to build a recording studio, it would look like this. Oh, maybe like this, like this. So in that time, I probably designed like 10, 15 like loose ideas of studios just on paper, in like 3D programs on the computer. And when I came back to Namibia, I did get a job in construction, and I was doing a lot of drafts work, so working on plans. And I was working on plans in this building here in the dome where we are, and I saw a unit next to the radio station, the unit that we're in right now, and it was labeled recording studio. So immediately I got up from my desk, I walked up here, I looked through the window, I was like, what's going on here? This is an empty room. So I asked around, they were like, no, you need to talk to Rainer, because the radio station is planning to build a recording studio there. So,
and at that time, that was the missing piece. We in Namibia have a lot of experience with music production engineering, but acoustics is something that's very foreign to us. You know, there's no educational infrastructure here that gives that as curriculum. So running into the missing link was literally like the stars aligned for me. That was the only thing that we were lacking the entire years that I was trying to figure out how to do this. It always came down to who has the knowledge to build a place like this, and who locally has knowledge, because we didn't want to outsource this. We didn't want to go to Europe or whatever and bring somebody in and have them build a European standard studio and then leave again, and then we have to
deal with
it. Yes, exactly. So we were lucky enough, like I said, to find somebody very passionate who dedicated their life to it. And I mean, when you guys walk in here, that kind of reflects.
The Sunday that you were talking about, Gernot, your dream about being in a space where you can build a studio, this is where we are. Nautilus is shining bright.
Great combo deal from Choppies! Choppies, great value for your money.
Tell us about what kind of projects in the past few years that since you've established the space you've worked on, things that you've really gotten recognition for that stood out. Like, I think we need to brag sometimes, just give a little props to ourselves.
Where do we even start? I think...
we kind of made it hard, but at the same time exciting for us because we wanted to work with everything. We didn't want to be restricted to a genre. We didn't want to be restricted to only doing music. So we were like, okay, let's build a facility that can kind of do everything.
Cater for all.
And then let's try to do everything. So from the beginning, we basically just were yes men from the start. It's like, oh, you need production sound? Yes. You need a voiceover? Yes. You want us to? We've done some really odd...
But I mean, that's obviously also because the industry lacks so much.
The environment is very difficult to just focus on one single thing. You need to be very diverse and flexible in here.
So in that time... and working in all of these different kinds of projects, there are a couple of things that really stand out for me. One of the things that, for me personally, being a predominantly rock and metal producer before I started here, and starting to work with gospel artists, I've really developed a love and a passion for gospel music because it has to be said that like churches do probably more for music development in this country than any other institution. So the more I started working with church bands, with gospel groups, the discipline, the craftsmanship, the musicianship,
the composition, the spirit.
Exactly, the spirit is really something where there were a couple standout productions for me with Worship Outcry, for example. That was a great production. Working with Ponte di Cua. He, one of my favorite producers in the country. We worked on a film score together. We worked on a couple projects, like musical projects together. There were some. There's actually too many to think of.
We got to go over to your pages, to your spaces.
You can check out our Instagram, our YouTube. We've got pretty much a catalog of a lot of the projects we've done. But in 2020 specifically, we found ourselves, like many others, without work for the first half of the year, and instead of like twiddling thumbs, we're like, what can we do? How can we create an impact in our environment? So we started looking around at local artists in Swakopmund, in Walvisby, to see how would they need support, how would they need help, who are the standout people that are already doing great things, but they maybe just lack the proper support to get to that next level. So.
And the infrastructure. That was going to be my next question. For 2020 and the COVID pandemic hitting so hard, and especially the music and production industries, how did you cope? Tell us about those artists. What kind of things did you create for them? What kind of packages or strategies did you put down for local artists who don't have the infrastructure, who are recording in their mom's backyard with mattresses and one mic? What did you help them with? How did you shape them?
One of the big things that happened, and once again, we can't just talk about ourselves in regards to this. One of the big things that happened last year was the National Arts Council of Namibia releasing the COVID-19 relief fund. Around the middle of last year, I think GOtv had identified the relief fund, and we decided to apply for a project that was going to make use of the prior 6 months of us having identified all these individuals in our local communities, in our coastal communities, and try and incorporate them into a giant project. And this was kind of like the flagship start of our community outreach last year specifically, was the event that we hosted was the All Ears event. So we essentially pitched a live stream, a week-long live stream studio recording session to the National Arts Council. So that's a recording session that was live streamed online for the general public to have access to see what musicians actually do in a recording studio, and at the same time we gave coastal musicians, session musicians, paid work for that week to be in studio, come and interpret and collaborate
and gain experience. And I think we had a total of about 26 participants in that project.
For that 1 week, yes.
And
since that project happened, it's established a whole community here at the coast that is involving themselves now with projects that are running through the studio. We have a huge list of session musicians, film people that we can just contact on a moment's notice that are at the coast now, that we can include in productions. And all of a sudden this idea of collaboration is growing at such a pace, and there's an actual scene which we've never had here before. It's almost at a beginning of a small industry here, you know, which is a great thing. That's never been the case in Swakopmund. So just because of what happened last year, it was kind of once again one of those blessings in disguise. You know, if we didn't have the time to actually sit back and focus on our community, who knows if that would have ever happened, you know?
That's magical. That is magical. I can't wait for my viewers to get a chance to actually see and experience that. I'm sure that live broadcast is still available.
Yes, on our YouTube channel, along with all the other content.
You can check out the entire week stream, but we also have a highlight video that we cut together because we basically stream for 8 hours a day for 5 days, and we're able to employ a bunch of people, not just the session musicians, but also the assistant engineers, the producers, the presenters,
the whole crew,
the whole crew around it, the streaming team. There was it was quite a mission to pull it off, but it's an event that we plan to do more in the future and to refine and to get better at it. And
let's talk about the future. Let's talk about where you see Nautilus Studios in the next 5 to 10 years, what kind of magic you're making all over Namibia, and how this project is going to branch out into more and more routes, into more and more studios, into more and more ears. Okay, don't give us all your secrets.
I was about to say there are some secrets that we need to be very sensitive about, but there are some big things in the plans for the future. Obviously, this whole project started with big dreams, and it continues with those big dreams. We were very aware from the get-go that we were, for lack of a better phrase or word, a bit crazy doing this, you know. Not only myself thought that, but people told us that also.
People need to stop telling people things.
No, but it
sometimes
is
here and there,
it is good because it's helped ground this ridiculous dream in an environment that doesn't really accommodate it too well yet.
They'll bring it back to earth.
Exactly, and it's just helped us be more realistic about the dreams and going into the future and having more of a determined way forward where we know it's not just taking risks. You know, this industry, this music scene here is largely based on taking risks at the moment, and that's something I think Nautilus has taken up as a challenge. We want to, 5 years from now, we want this industry to be slightly more established, especially for our coastal community, to have a foundation, to be able to say, you know, when you go to your parents in 5 years and say you want to be a musician, the answer is not going to be no, that can't be happening. They can go, look at Nautilus, something has happened in my community, I have something to show for it, so it's not impossible anymore. I would say that is our future goal, aside from a few small projects that we do still have in the pipeline.
I would add to that, it's about, look, with, I love what you said earlier with sort of industry, it's a project. Right, and what that means is we have some understanding, and we can look at examples of other countries of how the music industries work there, but that doesn't necessarily apply 100% here. We can use a lot of that knowledge and a lot of that information to try to make it work here, but essentially all of us, whether it's Nautilus or any other studio, any other label, or any other artist in the country, is essentially making it up as they go along, figuring it out, trying things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and essentially we're doing a similar thing, and we want to find out what is it that will make Namibian music uniquely Namibian. What is that X factor that in 3 years, in 5 years, somebody will listen to a track and be like, this is Namibian, this sounds Namibian. Not because it sounds like Nigerian or South African, or you can hear all the influences from there and there, but this is something that could have only been made in Namibia because it's got these unique ingredients
in there.
And I think once again collaboration is the key word there. We live in a very beautiful country that has so many multifaceted cultures and regions and just lifestyles, and a studio being almost like a breeding ground or a facility where that can happen, where that creativity can happen and we can capture it, and because it happens all the time, like in real life as well, but most of the time there's nobody there with a camera and a microphone
to capture that.
to capture it, and that's our mission. Like, how do we create a space that is conducive to creativity, that feels comfortable enough, that feels open and welcoming enough, so that creativity can happen and we can just
press the button.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Their all-ears music production was one that kept Namibian music thriving during COVID in 2020. Here is what you might have missed out on.
Lock me down in my home, got no place to go now.
It's been really lovely to see all these different beautiful, beautiful musicians come together who I didn't know before, and some of them know each other, but we have crossed paths in the most lovely ways. Within a day, we were already a family, and within 3 days, we've composed and put together 3 amazing songs.
Smiling eyes are all that you'll be seeing, staring back at me. The world's gone crazy, but for me it's safe to say
fun. Loads and loads of fun.
It was good, but it was not good. It was fun. The energy at the place was good.
Awesome, Rovent.
All years was amazing. For all of us as artists, I think it's been the highlight of our year.
Smiling eyes are all that you'll be seeing, staring back at me. The smiling eyes are all that you will ever see. The smiling eyes are all that you'll be seeing, staring back at me.
Jou glimlach maak my dag, elke dag wat ek sit en vir jou inwag. Oë wat blink soos
My experience during the week was awesome because I got to get my confidence boosted. It was the most perfect week.
The All Years event provided us with the exciting opportunity to showcase what this facility was really designed to do. Not only high-quality music production, but to provide a creative hub for artists to collaborate. And live streaming the event really helped bring that experience to the audience in an authentic and intimate way.
My experience at All Ears 2020 was amazing. I got to meet with a whole lot of artists I've always had dreams of working with. The opportunity to actually write songs together, to network. New bonds were formed, and I know of a few who will be performing together in the future.
I'm giving love to those who need it most.
You know, we've been a very hard time through COVID-19 for us as artists, you know. All the performances have locked down, so like All Ears really benefit us. Some of us, like from the ghetto, we came up ending up nothing to eat, nothing even to do anything. So it really benefit, like for myself.
This project has definitely benefited everyone involved. This is a true showing of Namibian talent and a great variety of it. We see how we have 13 different cultures in one room, all genuinely Namibian, and that unique flavor has come through.
Not only did we get to talk to the founders, but we had the opportunity to check out the space and what it takes to set the perfect mode for creativity to take place.
Welcome to Studio Camp at Nautilus.
It's nice to like just get out of your comfort zone, and yeah, because that's how you also create, you know, you pick up from everyone else and you make it kind of your own, and that's what brings it all together, I feel.
Music that touches you here, you know, not music that just makes you vibe. You need to think about it. You need to grow emotionally from listening to the music.
you need like an obstacle to transcend something and be a hero and make something great. Like if there isn't an obstacle, like, oh, I'm in a room with a bunch of people, I'm nervous, so that's an obstacle to overcome, like from within.
Maar vandagse experience was heel different.
So insightful, so informative.
We can't wait to get the whole gang together. But until then, let's stay safe.
There you have it for this edition of The Tribe. It's time for us to wrap things up and ship out of here. But make sure to catch it all again and follow us at The Tribe Namibia. Until next time, Namibia, English.
Win free airtime with One Africa TV. Share your comments on the channel. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, the best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
Joseph Parkman was in and out of prison, dealing and doing drugs. Then a drug deal went wrong. Joseph was robbed, handcuffed, and scared straight out of the business. For 6 months, he roamed the streets as a homeless addict. Then one night, in a baseball dugout, Joseph met a stranger who totally changed his life.
I stand in awe of the power of the God who's our creator. And Terry and I sit here on this program, and the Lord speaks to us, and it's the word of knowledge. It's one of the manifestations of the Holy Spirit.
Something not always godly.
Not always, that's right. That's right. Well, there's a lot of negative voices out there, as we know.
Yes, there are.
And
so how do you know when it's God saying, Perry, I want to speak this to you right now?
And sometimes you don't know. And I think you